Hi, this week we have three interesting webinars lined up for you. At 10 a.m., we have Resolution 2026, Make Your First Crore, Your Reality. At 11 a.m., we have Building a Resilient Portfolio in Volatile Times, 2026 Playbook. At 12 p.m., we have a Neo webinar, especially for the Middle Eastern investors, on year-end reviews. All the registration links are given below in the description. Please do register and hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Cost has become the most popular and obsessive topic of discussion amongst investors. Investors have been fed on the belief that it is costs which actually diminish their returns. Nothing can be farther from the truth. When stockbroking charged around 1% per annum during my early years, our investment returns were significantly higher. Most of us made money in almost every single year. So it is not so much cost which weighed on our investment outcome, but the quality of decision making at every point. If decision making is of a high quality, costs become incidental. But if decision making in investing is of a mediocre quality or more often of low quality, then costs can weigh very heavily on your outcome. In recent years, I have seen that the subject of cost has been brought up again and again and again in mutual fund investing. I find that a lot of people today invest only through demat account when there is also an alternative way of investing through the statement of accounts. Now, here is something that you must think through very carefully. When you are investing through a demat account, you are paying demat transaction charges, demat accounts annual charges, and these are often costs which you don't even calculate. The reason you don't calculate is that you believe that you are saving on costs in some other way, which is when you move from a distribution to a direct option, which is mostly made available to you only through demat by most of the platforms. You believe that that savings is there, therefore you need to be in the demat. Not many people think through the costs they incur in the demat route. If you are in the statement of account route, you don't have these costs. Here are some of the ways in which cost weighs on the small investor. For example, for every transaction, the platform charges you at the rate of anywhere between 12 and 20 rupees. Sometimes it could even be higher. You have GST getting added to this cost. So suppose you have 4 funds receiving 500 rupee SIP. You could be paying anywhere around 15 rupees for each fund. So 60 rupees you pay every month as transaction charges. Then you have the annual charge anywhere between 300 and 500 rupees. So investors, especially the small investors, who think that they are saving money by being on a platform using a demat account, forget to estimate what is the actual cost they are incurring. They don't even think through it. Then you are also levied a cost for statements. So all these charges finally come to weigh on your overall cost of ownership. If you are a small investor, having a demat account for your SIP is actually not needed. The statement of account model is far more effective for you to invest and you save a lot of money. The next thing is the difference in cost between the distribution method and the direct model. Now, everybody thinks that the direct model is actually something where they can save money almost by default. But when I see investor portfolios, it is not so. Here is an example. When you are investing in the direct option, mostly you are shown a lot of NFOs on your platform. Now, the cost as an expense ratio in that NFO is going to be somewhere around 2% or maybe even marginally higher. Whereas, if you are investing in a product which is established through a distributor, you may well get that product around 1.5%. So effectively, though you are investing in the direct option, when you invest in an NFO, your costs are going to be higher than what it would be if you are investing through a distributor in a more proven, established product. Now, most investors are shown NFOs by platforms because the NFO is promoted on these platforms. Just like Swiggy and Zomato show you certain restaurants who advertise on their platforms, the investment platforms also show you funds for which an advertisement expenditure or a promotional expenditure is incurred by the AMC. So effectively, you went to the platform thinking that it is advice neutral and bias free. But without your knowledge, you have already been biased into buying something. Without being even aware, you have bought a product based on what was shown to you, which in turn clearly created a bias in your mind. A lot of investors fail to see how a fund appears on their platform before them, how they were made to see certain data, and how they reached a decision. When Swiggy or Zomato shows an ad, you realize it's an ad. But when a financial platform shows you a product, you don't realize that it is a promoted product. Today, there is no way to make a disclosure that a product is actually being promoted by the platform and that the platform is actually receiving some form of gratification to put that product before you. Placement of a product before you is also a form of promotion. As an investor, you could be influenced if a product is continuously placed before you. But all these things don't catch your attention. You never become aware of how biases are made to grow in your mind. Preferences are actually built in your thought process and how your investment is being guided in a particular direction. My problem is not even so much with that guidance or the gentle nature in which you are moved towards a product. My problem is with the poor choice of product that you are making. And you are making this in the belief that you are in a place which is neutral to advice and which is going to take care of your interest. Not many people realize that it is precisely here that a lot of things happen which are not good for them. It is precisely in this place that choices are made in a way in which biases prevail far more than it would with a responsible distributor who is going to give you products of proven mutual funds in proven categories with very clear conviction that it will do well in the future. Costs tend to blind us to even basic facts, and costs also tend to blind us from seeing how we are being manipulated in our decision making. Friends, I know that costs are important. I concede without an argument or debate that costs should always be curtailed and controlled. But these costs should be seen at your overall portfolio level. My suggestion is, if you have a portfolio with a distributor, see what is the total commissions that have been paid over a period of one full year or a full month and compare that total sum with your AUM, your portfolio's total value. When you do that, you will be able to arrive at what is the actual cost that you are paying to a distributor for the services and guidance that he is rendering to you. You will know what incidental advice received from that distributor is truly worth. Now, for comparison, if you have something with the platform, calculate what is the depository charges, what are the transaction charges, what are the miscellaneous fees that you have paid to that platform, add the demat statement charges, add the maintenance charges for the demat account, create a total summary of all the expenses that you have incurred. Most importantly, please calculate what is the total expense ratio that you have paid for investing through the platform. Also, compare the total expense ratio that you have incurred while investing through the platform. The amount as per the expense ratio will give you a sense of what is your total cost of ownership with the mutual fund. Compare that with the total cost of ownership with the distributor, and you will realize that you may actually have got your principles all wrong in how you see costs in your portfolio. It is one thing to pay a distributor money, but it's also important to see what is the total cost of ownership for you when you invest through a distributor. Compare that total cost of ownership when you invest through a platform, and you will have very interesting findings. I have done this with many people and shown them that they are actually spending more than they think they are, and they would possibly be getting a far more economic experience with a distributor, provided the distributor is anchored, grounded to very, very fair principles of business. Thank you for watching this video.